that it causes extended waits of time, which are considered cruel and unusual punishment. And therefore, on that basis, California can't be trusted to manage executions. Therefore, they're canceling California's right to manage executions. So, see, here's the thing. This is what they're failing to understand. When it's not the jurisdiction solely of California, that ruling doesn't apply. Like if I go in and say, "Hi, how are you doing? This is my constitutional powers right here, presidential candidate panel. I can do seizure, arrests. Here, look it up yourself. You're supposed to be attorneys and smart people. Can never be removed from the books. There's good stuff here. And I can do all kinds of neat stuff. Even says you can do torture. No, you can't do torture. The word torture is discussed as to among the items where the definition is whatever is deemed necessary. You're talking about invasion and insurrection, saving the core of the country. And people are missing this. That's a separate level of understanding than basic understanding of prisoner management. And those other rulings are separate business management. But, I can argue that all day long with people. Like, okay, look, I'll give you a break, okay? I'm not interested in torturing people. I just want to force them into fMRI lie detectors and put a bunch of pharmaceuticals in them and get to the truth. That's simple enough. That it's worked fairly well in serial killers. It's a reasonably proven technology to come out with some various fragments of definitive truth. Why not? But still the powers that I have say that I can sequester. I can order courts and sequester courts. Well, we're a state court. What part about the Constitution are you missing? What part of constitutional powers granted are you missing? When I file presidential candidate panel, I can sequester. So if I send you a letter and you're sequestered, yeah, well, I get rolling. Yeah, there's a lot of frustration. It's the personal involvement factor. Yeah, personal involvement factor. Gee, I guess I can handle other people's cases, but, that's not me. But, yeah, no, you want me to say I'm sorry? Does that do it for you? Does that cut it? Okay, look. Okay. But no, seriously, I can sequester these people. It's closer to Simon Says. It's thou are commanded, basically, is what the situation is, comparatively in short. So yeah, I want you to handle this, but I'm keeping strings tied. Straight out. I'm keeping strings. And if I don't like the way it goes, it says right in, if I don't like the way that these things transpire and are handled, I can redo it. Double jeopardy does not apply. So, it says double jeopardy does not apply in that area. Look at those areas again. I'm telling you, double jeopardy does not apply. And there's a bunch of other things. Nobody's immune from a presidential candidate panel. Nobody's immune. No judge, no congressperson, no senator, not even the president of the United States. It's specifically mentioned. It's one of the few areas where you have panel and court powers, full trial powers, to enforce whatever is deemed necessary, with endless appeal power. Endless. No limit. Double jeopardy doesn't apply, and it has the power. I have the power, according to this, to directly, even if necessary, prosecute the President of the United States. This is something that people are missing out on. And you have people that want to go in rebellion. And I'm telling you, man, read the Constitution, read the articles. These people don't want to do that. You do that, And all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Let me explain this. You can't do this or else. Does that mean anything to you? Because the flip side of it is technically you can sit there and go, okay, meeting. What do we do with this? Let's read it. You look it up. It says we can use up and including deadly force to repel these parties. So these people are coming up saying, no, we're in charge. No, you're not in charge. You have no authority. You are also, by the way, under our thumb. You will take orders from us, period. They're just not getting it. Well, why do you want to give us orders? You have no right to give us orders. Excuse me. First of all, why would I want to give you orders? You're not even trustworthy. You're sitting there whining. You apparently haven't read the Constitution of the United States or the Articles. How are you of any use to me? How are you of any use to protect the Constitution of the United States when the first thing you do is you start talking the wrong way and you're violating your oath? So, yeah, well, yes, yeah, but yeah, no, yeah. Okay, fine, I'll stop saying yeah. That's yeah too many times. Okay. I can't use okay either? You're going to make this tough, aren't you? So yeah, no, it's getting late here. I know I did it again. But there's kind of the run through of some of this, and once again, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. You try to communicate with these people. You send them documents. You communicate with them over the phone. You ask them, nicely, can you just communicate like normal human beings and just be honest about the situation? And they think they're being honest. It's like, no, you're not being honest. First of all, we have dereliction of duty. Money's needed. Do you want to make an offer, an emergency management budget offer? Something in good faith here to protect the process of elections? No, they don't want to do this. See, that's what bothers, is the fact that they are not doing anything to show intent that they're actually sorry and that they actually want to do something that's correct. It's an endless item. So why should I consider leniency on people that show all this negative intent? It's like they all want to clam up and they're criminals. But they want to be government employees and even people that are part of the justice system. And it's like, look, that doesn't work. You can't be a criminal and part of the justice system at the same time. Well, our policy says that we can't investigate spies, saboteurs, people who committed acts of war. Those are personal items. No, they're not. You're saying that you can't investigate and assist and protect archives? No, we can't do that. Our policy says. I says, you have to understand, you're quoting a policy that is diabolically opposed to the Constitution of the United States. You just confessed to the ultimate diabolical opposing of the Constitution of the United States. You claim you have taken an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States, and here I am putting it on the table, and I have command power to order you to comply, and you are showing no respect. You are showing no understanding whatsoever, and you're being diabolically opposed. Well, we have to defend government employees. I said, so therefore you have to disenfranchise every California voter? That's, what is that, 10, 14 million voters? I think it's over 14 million voters. You can't do that. You cannot say 14 million voters cannot be protected. We're going to protect one potential employee that might have committed a crime. We're going to stop you from getting resources that you need to roll out and recover items that are stolen. I mean, would you like to help these people load the hard drives from the archives that are national security material directly on the Russian jets? And I mean, oh, that's being ridiculous. I says, no, it's not. You don't have the right to turn me down. It's in the Constitution, the Articles, number one. Number one. However, look, I have asked you nicely, very nicely, to adhere to your constitutional oath and to attempt some kind of reasonable logic. Literally. Can you please make a rational point of logic here? They just flatly refuse. And, the thing is you try to explain this and remind them, do you understand that the Constitution articles in these specific areas, they don't have any leeway? This so-called policy you're talking about is an illegal document. It's a confession. Do you understand? There is zero leeway. You are now in mandatory death penalty territory. What is wrong with you? You are going to aid and abet foreign and domestic spies at the theoretical level, completely opening up the tactical table. We don't know that there's spies there. I says, that's part of my point. We don't. But your policy is a zero investigation. You can't have a zero investigation because now you're saying there's a total collapse of protecting candidates, protecting the process of elections, protecting archives, protecting artifacts. Read the Constitution and Articles. Mandatory death penalty area. What's the matter with you? These people, basically, I'm just going to say it. We need to set examples. You can just give, all this time I'm giving these people, all generously, all this time. They're at the end game of this. Eventually, what needs to be done is people will have to end up being selected. They'll have to be selected, publicly displayed, and publicly executed to prove that there's still a commitment to protect the Constitution of the United States and protect the integrity of this nation. That's interesting because my understanding for years and years and years is the majority of people want that. The majority of people don't want death penalty for themselves if they're accused. Oh, no. But as far as leadership and examples being made of and holding leadership accountable, it's exactly what people want. They want to see people get punished for ridiculous wrongdoings. Now, when you go amongst the leadership, it's amazing. Apparently, the leadership wants to come up with endless excuses and say, "Oh, well, we are immune." I mean, stupid stuff. I did first phase of 4-phase actions. I did a rule from the bench. I used material where the judge confessed in writing to refusing to accept documents into court. The material pertained to pertaining to national security and other things that had acid on it. I said, hey, look, there's basically, part of my presentation is missing. There's acid on this stuff. Emergency managed budget have to be granted immediately. And this is a situation, and all these other people become my insurer automatically. And, yada, 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 they don't want to log evidence into record. What's wrong with that? What kind of judges can you have that don't want to log things in record? Or they don't want the court to be a court of record. Oh, we've decided today that it's not going to be a court of record. You can't compel a candidate to appear in a court of non-record. What are you doing? Absolutely ridiculous, Suing judge, they're going, well, the judge is afforded complete immunity when he sits on the bench for anything he does. Wrong. The Constitution of the United States says no judge, nor congressman, nor senator, not even the President of the United States is immune. These people, they just don't get it. It's just not clicking in their head. These people are just pushing the log too far here. You're just pushing the burning log too far into the dock, and in order to save all of the restaurants and all the buildings that are on the dock from being burned down, we're going to have to take action. These people go, well, we got guns. We have to push this burning log into. We're not going to have a choice. You won't cease and desist your diabolical opposing to the Constitution. We're not going to have any choice. But at the end of this, go through, publicly embarrass these people. Publicly embarrass them for what they have done. Strip them of their retirement, their citizenship, everything, and say, yeah, you've committed treason, and it's mandatory death penalty. Here's your preacher over here. You can have 5 minutes to talk to the preacher. You're going to be executed. And then just, film it. Have a public filming of the execution. This is really where we're going. And the whole, and the thing is you bend over, it's like you bend over backwards. You try to be so generous repeatedly. And these people just keep having criminal intent after criminal intent, layer after layer, just adding on more and more criminal intent, and they just don't want to stop. And you look at this and you're doing it again and again and again separately, and again and again. And it's like, look, you have no remorse for the crimes you're committing, and it's right there in the text. Treason trials, no excuses, no technicalities are allowed. The attorney can't even lie for their client. They lie for their client. They have to stand with their client. By the way, that's nasty, by the way. If somebody gets caught aiding and abetting somebody else that's under the treason trial situation, they have to, that's called stand with. There's no separate trial. This is really interesting. You read it? They have to stand with. This basically means that if people get caught doing certain stuff, and some people say, oh, well, they're entitled to a separate trial. No, you're not getting a separate trial when you're forced to stand with. That's your client's right here on the side. Okay, yeah, you just screwed up. Go stand behind your client. You now stand with them. By the way, shut your mouth. Everything depends upon what happens with your client now. If your client's found guilty and gets the death penalty, you die too. That's the way that works, And these people are just like, they just really have to push it. They have to really ridiculously push it instead of being reasonable to begin with. And that's what shows criminal intent. Vicious criminal intent. Evil criminal intent. And this is what we have in leadership repeatedly when you look at this. All these types of diversionary tactics to get away from the main point, the main points, And when you get to the point where it's treason trial, it's an absolute. It's technicalities, excuses, those are not allowed. Oh, we were late, there was an accident on the freeway. I'd hear that. Okay. That's perfectly believable. Okay. These things happen. That's reasonable. But yeah, they want to make some weird excuses. Excuse me, you've been diverting our attention for 2 hours asking questions that have nothing to do with the logical pertinence of one of these particular witnesses. Why are you developing footage on frivolous questions that have nothing to do with the main topic? Absolutely. They do this. These people do this, and it's like, but you don't have a point there. You're cross-examining witnesses that made a statement, and their statement says that they witnessed directly somebody tell somebody something, and that's it. That's it. That's the whole thing they're witnessing. And then it's going. That was used to pull cell phone records, and here's the cell phone records. So yeah, I saw him, talk on the phone and text somebody, copy, and boom, there it is. Yet somebody wants. They're so ridiculous. They will use these ridiculous tactics and say, hey, look, if you do that in a treason trial, it's not allowed. You do that in a treason trial. By the way, do you understand? We're going to order you to stand with your client over here now. I'm going to put a gag in your mouth. You just go stand over there. You're sitting here wasting time. These people think that they can do a rope-a-dope and manufacture a bunch of false information that they can somehow edit and put around that has no relationship whatsoever connected to the point of truth. It's like, all the material that I have has truth core connection understanding. It's all connected in the arguments. But these other people, they'll invent stuff. Excuse me, you've been asking this person questions for 2 hours. The only thing is they witnessed somebody say something, and that's all that they're down for. But you want to ask them all kinds of stuff about different dates, and then get all excited and makes like you're doing some kind of a clown show, or you're all excited. Oh, you say you never heard this. This never happened on this date. You're inventing things that have nothing to do with the subject material whatsoever. You're completely diverting away from the main point, which is against the rules. And this is who a lot of these people are. It's just absolutely ridiculous what these people do and what they think they can get away with all over the place. So it's going to be a hard one. You're going to have to shock people, my grandfather, people say, you have to hold one or two or three of them accountable, and then the rest will get back in line again. They'll start behaving at least a little bit, So, I think that our forefathers were smart. They knew this. They only had a 38-year longevity. Keep that in mind. We lived 78 years. They only had a 38-year longevity. They'd get pissed. They have no time to sit there and listen to people fabricate 2 hours of BS. That's why they specifically mentioned it. Don't go off topic. Not for 2 hours. And yeah, by the way, don't try to invent. Don't try to do a grandstand inventing false information so you can do a custom edit and try to use a media war play. So they can say, look, this person said here 97 times that they didn't see anything, that this never happened. That's not why the people were brought in the court. Yeah, they didn't see these things. Yeah, they were there and they heard this person talk about it. The existence of other documents, other communications. That's all it was about. That's the reason to believe to go over here. But they invent these other things that have nothing to do with the topic. So yeah, it's getting late. It's getting late. Okay. Oh, I said it again. Yeah, sorry. No. That judge item. Well, it was a direct showing, basically, for me to say, they said this right here. Yeah, I got a little distracted there. They said, what I said was, they said right here, here's a copy of the official documents. Right here. Here's the section, they say this, bang. And so right here they say that that the judges are 100% immune. There's no such thing as immunity. It says no. Over here it says in the Constitution there's no such thing as immunity. I can even prosecute a president if I have to. And then also over here it's documents were refused to be posted. That's a violation. Also, the issue deals with an archive that had acid from a man-made disaster. And the court is told, every second that is delayed, more damage from acidic chemicals, damaging archive material that pertains to national security. That's two items. Number one, it's an archive. It has to be protected, no matter what. So, and number two, it pertains to national security. So here we have somebody making excuses to delay and not to allow documents showing these facts. Not to show, so, well, this document here is official, recognized United States protocol to deal with exactly this kind of decision. This is the approved protocol by the person who invented it, that is certified by the federal government. And they don't want to allow this. They don't want to allow these into record. And then so there's like 13 total items, but when you're doing an action, you're not required to mention all the items. No, read it's in the judicial, it's in the judiciary, yeah, it's near the end of this, it's I got it someplace. There's a point that says that you do not have to include all evidence and consideration in a decision. And you can rule from the bench as well. But it's expected that you show some kind of sampling, which I did, which I clearly did. I clearly showed enough. I got these things down to like 2 pages a document. This is pretty good. I got the support documents and I got 2 pages, which is a summary judgment, partial summary judgment. So additional actions are required. And yeah, it's just, it's no, that you're wrong. And the judge said it right here. And you're saying it again right here. So you are testifying that this judge is claiming this right here. And then you're claiming the same thing. And then right here it says clearly, right here, Constitution articles, that's not allowed. And then there's all these other violations, and I don't know how many I went in. I know I went into 3 major items. I think I might have mentioned 7 out of the 13 or something. Well, there was several different ones that I did, and on judges, and so, you can't do this. You cannot violate your constitutional oath, which the judge did. So there's nothing like going into a court and say the Constitution says this, and they're like, I don't care what the Constitution says. The effect that somebody can be sitting behind a bench and take that attitude, want to edit everything out, want to cancel a court from being a court of record, cover up everything that they're doing, refuse to allow documents in, that kind of activity. It's so appalling. It's so threatening. You're talking a RICO situation. You have 2 people testifying. Here's the direct evidence, still fragmented, still there in the court paperwork, which is a confession that involves the actions of 3 or more people. That's a RICO. It's an attack upon a candidate by 2 judges, a police officer. But yet it's witnessed, but the counter is witnessed by me, the Constitution, and by an attorney. And one of the instances, there was an attorney saying, "No, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm the attorney, and that's what the law says, Your Honor. Here it is right here. You have to accept this, Your Honor." "Oh, no, I don't have to accept that." Yeah, that was a big one. Oh man, one of the court hearings I was at one time doing that. And it was amazing. People like in the audience are like, "Oh my God!" They're like, "Did that just happen? That just happened, didn't it? The judge just do that? That just happened." They're just asking each other, "Did that happen?" And they're like, "Yeah, that happened." And so, and it was bad. There was some other things on it. It was really, really bad. So they're violating national security. They're causing delays. They're refusing to recognize certain laws. Oh, there was another one. Yeah, anybody who becomes displaced because of a man-made disaster, that the insurance company for those parties and that party become automatically your insurer of any deficit situations respective to anything, including insurance. This means if your auto insurance expires, but you're the victim of a chemical train wreck or a chemical plant fire or anything that's a man-made disaster, these people are automatically responsible. So then for them to conspire against an archive, the corruption there, just mind-boggling, the corruption, and how they want to cover up what their actions are. Mind-boggling. So yeah, this all spells more than three. It's a RICO. Actually, the full determination is they committed treason. They committed treason, and they left enough documentation behind to prove confession that they did it. So yeah, it's a summary judgment, partial judgment to treason on at least two of them, as I recall, to go through things. So, what am I going to do? Say, I'm going to order you people into an fMRI. We can relive the experience of what you did. You confessed right here in the documents. I had an attorney one time look on that. I had other people that reviewed it, some of the stuff in the past, on some of the things that some of these judges did on other cases, and they said, this is ridiculous. I had 3 law students do a write-up one time. They found some of the documents that I had on one of these other cases, and they wrote an opinion, and they said, this is the most ludicrous. There are so many flaws to this case. This is ridiculous. This man is clearly in need of assistance and is asking for completely reasonable and obviously needed assistance, and that was, and it disappeared. I can't find that thing on that anymore. So you have this disintegration of justice. We don't have permanent archiving when we need permanent archiving. It's a horrible situation, just horrible. So, yeah, it's getting late. Yeah, it's getting late. So, okay. Yeah, one of these days I'll dig out and I think I can email you. Yeah, I can do that. Okay. All right, bye.